What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Equine Edge Presents Good Chalk, Bad Chalk. Brady and Mike here with you guys to cover Gulfstream Park for the next hour. We got the late pick 5. We got some crazy racing going on in Dubai this weekend. We've got the Louisiana races. Mike, how are you doing today? I'm fired up.
It's been too long. I mean, that's just it's been like 4 weeks, 3 weeks since we did this. So I'm excited to be back, be able to cover some live racing here from Gulfstream. And we've got I don't know what you're going to do. You don't get to lean on Irad today. I mean, he's on a plane right now on his way overseas. So I'm interested to see how you're going to make some selections, Brady.
Dude, this is the best time to play Gulfstream Park. Our buddy Nick Feldman just made a great shout out on Twitter. He goes, "This 5-horse for Clement, this is a horse Irad would have been riding."
Yeah,
and he wouldn't have been 7-2. I promise you that. Junior Alvarado gets the job done. So yeah, you have to look at the mounts that Irad would have ridden and get the price on those because we bet the horse, not the jockey, right?
I love it. So your whole handicap angle is where would Irad be if he was
it's
there?
Part of it. It depends. We got Nick in the house. We got Scott here. Bluegrass Nation. What's up, fellas? Lexi's here. Yep, Alvarado. Yep, he's taking over for Irad today. I know Samich likes Miguel Vasquez today on a few mounts.
I do. I thought he had actually have 1 or 2 wins by now, and he was on the 7 that we talked about. I bet the 7 in the last race. He just couldn't get there. Did everything right, just kind of didn't get the job done. So hopefully we can get one of them home here in the last part. I like Barrios. I like Vasquez. When the big guys are away, I think some of the I wouldn't say the less well-known jockeys. Those are the two that I like to lean toward.
Well, today you can look for prices now because, oftentimes when the Ortiz brothers are in town, things just chalk out. Irad's on the 6-5 or Jose's on the 8-5, and we don't have that today. Tyler Gaffleone's getting bet. You have no Paco because of the suspension. So you're getting some of these guys like, Edwin Gonzalez, Miguel Vasquez. You're getting some of these other guys that are getting some good mounts, but you're going to get nice prices here. So let's just dive right into it. Thanks to Daylight Savings Time, we've now got late pick 5 action at Gulfstream. So let me get my screen up here. And last 5 races here, I put together a little pick 5 ticket that cost $60. We can kind of talk through these races because I think they just stepped on to the track here. And so we're going 5 furlongs on the synthetic, filly and mares 3 and up. Heavy favorite, the Saffy Joseph horse here, codename Lease, that Tyler Gaffleone's going to be riding. System seems to like it pretty well. Mike, I was trying to think that this was a little bit of a vulnerable favorite here. I didn't have confidence singling. What did you do here?
I didn't either. I didn't even put this horse on top, actually. I do think this is a horse you kind of have to include on the ticket. It's my second most likely winner in this spot, but I actually went to the speed on the horse who I think is going to make the lead here, be close to it. The 2 horse who's certainly sitting at 10-1. Man, I'm not even trying to pronounce that name. Equinix has this horse sitting mid-pack. I think you're going to see a little bit more speed today from this horse. I love the fact we're getting 10% on a 10-1 shot. It makes the number right on that front. And I like the fact that we're switching over to Martin Drexler. He's had a wonderful meet at Gulfstream so far. So the trainer switch here, I think, is a big deal. Hopefully we can come out running and fire. And we've seen these Woodbine horses do well on the synthetic at Gulfstream. So I'm hoping that trend continues as well. See if we can get a little bit of a price home. So I went the 2-3, and I also like the 10 as well. I thought that was the other place you could go here. Should be in these 5 furlong synth races, you want to be in the front or forwardly placed. It's been tough to come from way back. If you 2 turns on the synthetic, you want to be coming from off the pace. But right now, 5 or 5.5, you want to be on the lead or sitting in the top 4 or 5. So it's hard to close a lot of ground on that course.
I agree. Some of these races get so spread out, and we're only going 5 furlongs. I mean, this is essentially, it's a quarter horse race into the first turn, and who can sustain from there. On the synthetic, we've been able to see some horses come from off the pace a lot better than we do on this turf course and this dirt course sometimes. So you definitely want to be at least that first or second flight to even have a chance unless we get some kind of crazy pace collapse. I don't see a pace collapse here. I went deep here. I did like your 2 horse. And the Drexler angle is huge for me. He's been claiming a lot of horses this meet, and he's been winning at 21%. Synthetic master, coming down from Woodbine, that's what they run on up there is the synthetic track. And so, it's been kind of him at home down here in Florida, been claiming a lot of horses, and he claims them, then he steps them up in class, which is huge. And you're getting a nice price, 10-1 on the 2 horse that I won't try to pronounce either. I did use the Saffy horse here. I was trying to think, what are you trying to do with this horse? The horse was in against way better. I mean, we're going from a 60 SOR and a 54 SOR down to a 44 level. Horse almost won. Looks like the horse lost by a nose or a head bob 2 back going against the 54. So from a class perspective, the 3 horse definitely outclasses this field. hate the price is even money, though, to try to trust a horse on this Tapeta track. One thing I've been trying to do all meet at Gulfstream is try to fade favorites on the Tapeta, because you just don't know. It can change so much from day to day. I have more confidence in the turf and the dirt than I have the Tapeta based on the conditions. I can handicap, a muddy track better than I can handicap the Tapeta that's gotten a whole bunch of rain the night before. And so, I think it's going to take us some time to get really used to this track here. So I did like Mike's 2. I am including the 3 here. I went to the outside. I didn't like the 10 here. I didn't know if Chantel could actually go and grab the lead. That was my main concern with the 10. And just so many times, we see, their horses in the stretch run just kind of maybe get out kicked late. And so if I can get Chantel on the lead, I feel very confident. If she's chasing, I don't feel very confident. So I ended up going 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 here.
Yeah, I think the 3 or the 2 or the 8 are the 2 that they're going to make the lead here. We'll see who actually is able to do it as they're loading up here. I see you've got 2 singles here, the 3 in the second leg and the 5 in the fourth leg. I really like the 7 in the last leg. That would be my single in this sequence. I think that horse has a real live chance to be able to win on the turf. So if I was singling, that would be the case. I kind of like the 2 in the second leg as well, so I would include that if I was playing your ticket. Pirate Life, but this is a fun sequence. I don't think there's any massive I'm surprised there's 3 horses even money. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think there's any other horse in the sequence that deserves to be even money. Maybe that 5 you have singled in race 8 will be, but I think this is a pretty good pick 5 sequence we can go after, and we'll dive into the pick 4 almost race by race here once we're through. We're loading into the gate here, so I'm sitting here 2, 3, 10. Brady's got a plethora of horses here, and it looks like Bluegrass Dan down here live to the 3 for a couple $1,000.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get that 3 home for you here, Dan. It's going to be all about who's up front here. I'm really interested to see who tries to make the lead.
Outside.
And I canceled my pick 6 ticket in the last leg that singled to 5, so I'm just a little demoralized right now. Never cancel. Don't ever cancel.
They're off.
Well, one didn't get out very well there.
Salsa. Quick to break was India Palaga, who's headed off for the early
lead. The 2's up there up front, just like you expected.
Yep, I'm happy that 2 got the lead.
The favorite codename Lease.
The 8 didn't break as well. That was the other main patient here.
Back from behind the speed
goes the 6 at 63 to 1. Chantel's just sitting 3rd, so she's definitely got to pass horses.
Yep, that 3 is going to get a good trip, but this 2 could be awfully tough up there.
And Miss Mamba.
That's fast though. 21 and 3.
It's Penatang or Nushin in front by a length and a half. Second is India.
Come on with this 5.
On the outside. Third, Forever Artist is winding up from the back. Trying to run home as the favorite.
Come on with this 5 at 25 to 1.
Yellow down toward the inside.
I think this 2 might be gone.
Wow. Turns for home with an 1/8 of a mile remaining. Still leads by 4.
I don't really see anyone making up ground fast enough.
Nobody's really catching up. Went easy. Drexler 9 to 1. There we go.
Love it, baby. Welcome back, good Chuck, bad Chuck.
9 to 1 winners. Over 8 to 1, over 25 to 1. Wow.
Easy game.
Nice.
Easy
that
game.
That is awesome. Maybe we can call the racing office and ask how to pronounce that horse, because if you get a new license plate, maybe that horse is going on. Oh, wait, you only get 6 characters.
Well, I mean, I could put 6 random characters in any order and not be able to pronounce that either. But it was all be the same.
Nice. All right, guys. Hopefully you had that with us. Hopefully get a lot of booms in the chat from that one. I mean, that was easy. Angel Arroyo just went out to the lead. The 1 didn't break all that fast, which also helped the 2 a little bit get over right away. But then once, she made the lead, she was absolutely gone. And if you look at this horse's past performances, the horse really doesn't pass horses very well. So now they figured out, hey, this is how we can win. We have to go guns blazing out to the front, and we're going to accept whatever result happens. We just know we're going to go get the lead.
Well, that was the key. I think the 8 not breaking actually was the biggest key here. The 8 was the other horse that I thought had a chance at really being the pace pressure. When the 8 doesn't go, and the 2, we talk about inside speed a lot. This is a great example of how important inside speed can be, because the 2 horse is just 100% send here. Because if you're in the 2 hole, you don't want to be sitting 3rd behind 2 horses in front of you, because then all of a sudden you're going to get shuffled back. You have to deal with a bunch of other things going on. You're getting kickback in your face. It's really just a send spot there. And so as long as the 2 is able to make the lead over the 8, this horse is awfully dangerous, and I'm glad we jumped on for this one. It's always nice to start out with a 9 to 1 winner.
Absolutely. That's why I'm glad we came on at 3:00. 6 minutes in, we've got a 9 to 1 winner, and that horse is going to pay great in the pick 6 if you guys are alive. Look, we thought it was a vulnerable favorite, codename Lease. The horse figured, but the horse just doesn't like to win races. As simple as that. It doesn't matter who this is facing, and so it's not a horse I'd want to own for sure. But good call on that, Mike. We got the 2 pulled up here. And Mike, you just want to go over with the viewers, kind of what you liked there. We liked the Drexler angle. We liked that this horse we thought was the speed of the speed, and we liked the price. Was there anything else that helped you gravitate to this horse?
To me, it was really the speed, right? And if you look at where this horse is drawn to, I think that's often not taken into account enough.
Way
Where,
outside.
If you look the last 3 races, 8 of 10, 8 of 8, 10 of 10, and in each case dueled, headed in the final 8, led stretch. Like the horse was out forwardly placed outside. And so all of a sudden today we're able to draw an inside position, and naturally that inside horse is going to take the lead. The outside horse is going to kind of stalk in the second spot right behind him. In this case, the 2 was able to clear from the inside, and it was just game over, right? And that's one of those situations where if you watch the post position and you have these switches from outside post positions to inside post positions, especially on speed horses, it can make a huge difference because you're able to get to that turn first, cut the corner, and hopefully keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was the difference between the 10 and the 2 in this race. Maybe the 10 also had speed, but the 10, we got to talk about ground lost. When you're coming from that outside post, especially when you're going a sprint distance, I don't worry as much when we're routing because it's a longer race. It's more tactical. And these 5 furlong sprints, it's okay, you've got to go. And if you're not in the first flight, see you later. You're not going to catch us. But great job by Angel Arroyo there to just say, hey, if no one else is coming with me, I'm going to make sure that I clear. And, I didn't see the fractions. Did you see the fractions or how fast they went?
Fast.
Yeah.
21 and 4, 44 and 45. And then they finished in 57 and 2.
Right. But that was doing it easy. The horse wasn't stressed at all. The horse was not being pressed. Had that horse went a second slower and been in a pack of horses, the horse probably runs a lot differently. And I think people need to look at that of people who just look at speed numbers as far as a time, where time can be irrelevant in those factors of, hey, how easy did the horse do it versus how pressured was this horse?
And we got Aaron chiming in here. So it's a town in Ontario, which makes total sense as this horse came from Woodbine. It's Penetanguishene. Penetanguishene. Yeah. Close.
There we go.
We'll find out.
There we go. We got viewers everywhere. So Thanks for that info, Aaron. Good. I hope you guys are live with your tickets here. We're going to move on to the next leg then. We're going to talk a little bit of fairgrounds with you guys too. Hit us up in the chat if you guys want to look at a certain race. We're happy to do that. We're on for an hour today. We've got to talk a little Life is Good, going over to Dubai. Don't know what kind of odds we're going to get there, but I saw in the futures books just 3 days ago, before the post draw, he was minus 120 overseas. And I'm like, that's not bad. If we were able to parlay that with something else.
I mean, hell, I would take him minus 120 over any team against the spread tonight in college basketball, right? Like it's essentially the same thing, right?
Right. How's your bracket doing? Is your bracket still alive? Or
I'm doing great, except for that whole Kentucky champion thing.
Man, I saw Kentucky play live back in January when they played Notre Dame, and these guys are monsters athletically, but they just have a really hard time playing collectively as a team. When you're the all-star on your high school program or your AAU, and everybody's telling you how good you are your whole life, and then you go play with 5 other guys on the court or 4 other guys on the court like that, it doesn't go very well.
It's crazy. It's tough, and it's interesting to see how fast they can gel. And Calipari has done that with a ton of one and dones over the years. It's amazing when you look at the list of the players that he's had. He's only had 1 championship. It's kind of brutal. All right, so should we jump into the pick 4 here? Do you want to try and crush through that, and then
let's crush the pick 4 first, so the viewers can have that. Oldie's got a question. When we think of Colonel Liam overseas, Oldie, I'm a huge Colonel Liam fan. I think he's a good grade 2 American horse. I'm just scared that John Gosden is going to have something. I think Lord North's in that race. I don't think Charlie Appleby has anything in that race. And I was trying to get some info on the other European horses, and I couldn't find anything. I don't know. 7-1's a great price on Colonel Liam, but in these races every single year, you get some European horse that just runs out of their mind. And so I'm a little skeptical of Colonel Liam this weekend.
Yeah, I am. One of my biggest problems with these pools is that we're betting in the U.S. pool generally, which means you're rarely getting a good price on the U.S. horses. You can look at the overseas pools, and almost, I'd say about 90% of the time, you're going to see that the U.S. horses are shorter price here in the U.S. through whatever ADW you're using, be it TVG, Twin Spires, Naira Bets, whatever it is. They're going to have a shorter price on those U.S. horses because their pools are segregated from the general global pool, which is being bet in these different areas. So I usually try and shop around. I'm generally trying to fade U.S. horses if I'm looking at overseas races because of it, because I'm not playing on those. I'm playing on ADWs in the U.S. versus the overseas ones.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why people will see the odds on the screen sometimes and be like, hey, why was this horse 4-5 when he was 7-1? overseas. And
Yep.
that's exactly why what Mike explained there. So yeah, be wary. I think the takeout's pretty high too, if I'm not mistaken, for these races. So also, we're definitely not proponents of high takeout on this show. We want tracks to lower it down. Let's get 10, 12%.
Yeah, those are races I will play in tournaments, but I do not bet them. Generally, I won't bet them unless I really like something.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to go through this late pick 4 here. I just redid my system here. I had my pick 5 ticket that's still flashing. So if you guys want to tag along, just play the late pick 4. Mike, we've got race 6 coming up in 19 minutes. We're going 5 furlongs on the turf here. Starter allowance 40,000. I like Big Daddy Dave on top here. Danny Pita horse that tried the turf for the first time last time out, got up by about half of a head. I think should improve today, going against a little tougher group, but not tougher than what they've faced before on the dirt. And I think Lionel Reyes is just going to try to send this horse. If we go to the equine edge pace numbers, it looks like we have a 16-point advantage. And here we are again going 5 furlongs. It's going to hit pretty quick. But I know you also like the 2 Pirate Life. Tell me a little bit about your 2 here.
Yeah, I think that this is just one of those setup races where I think that your 3 horse, Big Daddy Dave, definitely going to send, right? No K No, if you look at all of his past races, 100% going to send there as well. And when you have these 2 horses who at 5 and 6 furlongs always send, and you got that 1 horse who's really talented who's going to sit right behind the 2 of them, that is the situation I'm often looking for. I think the 2 just trips out here. If you look at that last race, by the way, with IRAD up, so this would be an IRAD horse for your angle here, Brady. I think that the 2 is just going to sit right behind the 1 and the 3, and 5 furlongs you can still close, but you got to be real close. And then the 2 horses shown that tactical speed in the 1 start and able to make that jump. Now, I generally hate betting horses like this because they're trying something for the first time. So Gargan's putting this horse on turf after it was on dirt last time. And it's facing winners for the first time. 2 things I generally don't love, but because I feel like this horse has some talent and because this is a turf sprint, this is the one place I will often play horses right back is in turf sprints, because I think you don't need to have this seasoning that you need in a 2-turn dirt race or even a 6 furlong dirt race where you're getting a bunch of kickback. You have to deal with all these different things. It's much easier to win right back going short on the turf than doing anything else. So I'm willing to kind of take a little bit more of a chance there. And look, I like Gargan first time turf sprinting. I like Vasquez when I'm facing this group of jockeys. I love the fact that IRAD rode this horse first time out. I think the setup is absolutely perfect for the 2 as well.
Yeah, making good points there. We also talked about No K No a little bit, and here we go. Junior Alvarado won 2 back in a turf sprint where we knew he was going to send with the Clement horse. However, he sat second, and Edwin Gonzalez went way too fast up front with Fulton Market. Almost held on, but the 5 got up in the last couple of strides. Junior's probably going to try the same tactics here. If he can't get the lead, he's definitely going to try to sit second and angle out on Big Daddy Dave. But from a tactical perspective, I get what you're thinking is Big Daddy Dave is going to try to clear, but No K No is going to try to hold the rail. And
Right.
So if Big Daddy Dave can't get over, that might pose problems for both of them, because then No K No is going to go faster than what he wants to. And then there's Pirate Life sitting right there, right in behind. What about Determined Fury? If we're going to go with the Drexler angle, this horse was just claimed by Drexler. And so look what happened. We're not getting 9-1 like we did the last race, but a little Drexler double wouldn't surprise me here.
I wouldn't be shocked either. It's interesting. You've got back numbers that definitely fit from this last summer at Saratoga and Belmont to be able to get the job done here, facing pretty good horses there like Montauk Daddy and Turn of Events, Ring of Fire. So that the class fits and was running in those $50,000 allowance races. Was just claimed for $35,000 in a Gulfstream race. So that has experience over this course. My biggest issue was really that last race. If you look at it, a 48 win percentage, even money, field of 5. No excuse, and it kind of got the right setup. And so I'm worried that if we couldn't get the job done there, taking a step up in class, maybe not necessarily what this horse is looking for. So I think this might be just a little bit too high of a spot. And it's going to be interesting to see where Determined Fury is going to be able to sit here too, because I have a feeling this pace is going to be a little bit quicker than what Determined Fury has seen. So we're going to come from a little bit further back than I would necessarily like. But I don't hate the 5's chances in this spot. I just 5-2 is tough for this kind of jumping class in my mind.
Yeah. I really didn't look outside of the 2, 3, 5. I was going to toss the 1 just from a pace perspective. Partners Hope, I feel like I can't trust this horse. That's my problem with Partners Hope. I know a lot of people on Twitter support this horse a lot, time and time again. But, man, he just keeps on disappointing me every single time. And he finally breaks his maiden after how many starts? I mean, and that was on the synthetic. Now we're back on the turf here. I don't know. I just, in 5-1, to me, that's too low on this horse. I know it's a price play and it's the long shot play, but it's a long shot for a reason.
Well, you give me that 10-1 that we saw earlier, 8-1 morning even. I'm more interested in this horse, but to me, this is one of those spots where I feel like you kind of have to take a stand in this race, or you have to figure out where you're going to take a stand in this sequence. And to me, this is one of those spots where I think I can probably get through with the 1 and the 2. I think if you want to include the 3 as well, I could see that argument. But to me, I think you can get through with the 1 or the 2 here and get this off with a decent price.
There we go. Mike's going with the 1 and the 2. I'm going with the 3, Big Daddy Dave. We'll move on to the second leg here. Once I close that. Oops. All right, regenerate here. Then we've got a mile, 1 turn, starter optional, claiming 35,000 for fillies, 3-year-old and up here. This was an interesting race because once I pull everybody back in here, I thought that this race was kind of wide open. And Mike, you're famous for saying if you can take a stand in a wide open race, you're really setting yourself apart, whether it's a tournament or whether it's a multi-race horizontal wager. A lot of people, I think, could see themselves going 4 or 5 deep in this leg. Did you really narrow it down, or are you using 4 or 5 horses here?
I'm going to go short here. I'm going to single on my press ticket, and I'm going to go, I'll say 2 deep, maybe 3 deep here on a 50-cent ticket. But to me, I'm interested in the outside horse, the 7 horse. Amaxitil. I don't know.
If you can't pronounce the horse's name today, that's the one to bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the Ortiz brothers.
Worked in the first race, right? This is a horse. Look, this is one of those horses that I think actually wants the distance, the mile distance here. You got a lot of horses that are coming out of 6 furlong races or 7 furlong races that are the top competition in this race. The 7 horse is coming out of back-to-back distance races. Now, both of those were on the synthetic. And last time specifically showed some pace and then kind of quit off it. Going 2 turns on the synthetic, anyone showing pace and then switching back to either the turf or the dirt at Gulfstream, if they can handle the surface, to me, is a big-time positive because those horses are doing well, retaining speed over both the turf and the dirt, which retains speed better going 2 turns than the synthetic does. So synthetic to turf, synthetic to dirt, showed speed and quit on synth. Has been an angle that's been working out pretty well for me here. Now, little concerned that the best races are turf and synthetic for the 7. But when I look at horses like the 2 horse, Princess Cupid, who is definitely going to be in front here, and this is just the definition of cheap speed to me. You got a horse that's shown pace 4 times, but all 4 times has done it going 5 or 5.5 furlongs. I'm just not so sure we're going to be able to stretch out and handle 2 turns here. I get why people would want to play the 2 horse here, but to me, it's just they're doing too many new things for me to be interested in the 2 in this spot. I think the 1 is the other interesting horse here, Hanita's Empire. This is a horse that has been going 5.5 or 6 furlongs, but coming from off the pace doing so. And so I'd be interested to see what this horse can do, trying to take a step forward. Now, the GSR says that this horse is going to like sprinting more than it's going to like going around a ground, which is, it's a little concerning here. And that's why you'll see that 1 and the 7 both in those last 2 spots. That's my biggest issue with these 2 horses, but I'm going to try and take a stand in this race versus spreading out. I saw a couple people saying this is an all race. I don't feel like you have enough upside to play all in this race. I think too often you're going to get one of the shorter prices.
If Julian's the favorite and you can toss him as the favorite, that's a huge advantage in my opinion. So that's what I did here. I tossed the 6, and I believe the 6 may go off favored. It looks like the morning line favorite was the 6 for Jack Sisterson. I did not use him. I know your comment on the 2, Princess Cupid, was cheap speed. I'm willing to give this horse 1 shot going a mile, 1 turn, stretching out. If this horse was going 2 turns, I think I would be really scared. But the fact that the Gulfstream mile configuration of 8 is still 1 turn makes me think maybe going 5 to a mile. Let's see what this horse can do. I didn't want this horse to beat me if this horse was able to get loose on the lead. And according to the Equine Edge pace numbers, it's Julian that's going to sit second. If maybe Julian doesn't break all that well, or if he doesn't send, maybe this 2 gets a very, very easy lead. Other than that, I did like your 7 here. You got Fausto Gutierrez and Javier Castellano clipping at 33% right now. We are trying some new things here. This is the 5th different configuration of distance and surface that this horse has tried. They've tried something new every single time. And so, that's another horse you don't really want to get beat by. And then we've got the 2 Antonio Sano horses, which these horses can pop up at any given time. And if we look at the crowds that this 5 Queen Camilla has been facing, this horse is definitely taking a step down in class. And so I definitely wanted the 5 on my ticket. And then I also really liked this one horse, and he is Empire as well. I felt like this horse fits. We're stretching out. This is the horse that I think, if the speed is cheap up front, that this is the horse that maybe is going to get first jump to try to take him, in the last furlong. And so for me, I was 1, 2, 5, 7. Didn't see any reason to use the Being Cone horse here. Didn't see a really good reason to use Julian as the favorite, because I don't think Julian's going to get loose here. I think, maybe the 2 is going to do the job to soften this horse up if this horse actually goes and gets the lead. This horse can be fast, though. We're coming off of Turfway Park Synthetic and Ellis Park Turf. Now we're coming to Gulfstream Dirt. So here we are with a bunch of horses trying something new for the first time.
Well, and these races typically are very difficult. It's the optional claiming or N1X, N2X for 3-year-olds early in the 3-year-old season, right? Because a lot of these horses have logical improvement ankles, or they've only run a few times, they're trying new things. They've all won, so they're capable of winning, but you don't know necessarily how good all of them are yet. And it puts you in this situation where, you've got the 6 horse who's coming in trying a completely new thing. You've got the 7 who's trying something new, right? So there's a lot of different horses that could take a big step forward, and you wouldn't be shocked by it. It's one of the tougher races to handicap, but it's also, because of that, one of the better races to try and take a stand. You're going to have a lot of people going 5, 6, 7 deep in this spot. If you can get through here in 1 or 2, it gives you a huge edge. And this to me is a really good sequence to press, right? Because we're talking about, the 6 horse is a 2-1 EE morning line favorite, but the 3-1 or 3-1 on the line, I think it is. You're going to get a lot of middling prices. And if you get a lot of middling prices and you play a 2x2x2x1 $5 pick 4 costs you $40, you can hit that for 2,000 or 3,000 in this sequence, hitting all 7 to 2 shots. And that's not that difficult to do when you look at the long and short of it.
No, absolutely not. So we'll move on to the next leg here. This is race 8, 7 furlong starter allowance, non-owners lifetime 1, 3-year-olds and up. We're going to have a pretty heavy favorite, Clapton. This horse was 2-1 morning line. I did single in the pick 5. EE win percentage loves this horse. And from a pace perspective, it looks like this 2 horse may be way out in front. We'll see what happens. If you watch the replay on this 5 was much the best last time out. I don't know. I watched the replay twice today, and I still don't know how this horse didn't win that photo. And he was coming. You're getting an extra half of a furlong again. So it looks like maybe 7 furlongs is maybe what this horse wants to do. I know the GSR jumped up a little bit when it went down to 6.5, but when I'm looking at the GSR, I don't really care if a horse is, a 60 at 7 furlongs and then a 68 at 6.5. I'm more or less using the GSR to tell me if a horse is a sprinter or a router, a turf horse, or a dirt horse. And so I'm not really worried about those little ticks in half a furlong. If this horse runs anywhere near his last race, I think he's gone.
I don't disagree with you. The only knock on this horse is the speed, right? You want to be more forwardly placed at Gulfstream, especially in sprints. But the 2 horse to me is, again, look, this horse is going to get loose. This horse is not as talented as the other horses in this race. And so it's a question of whether or not we're going to get brave up front on the 2 here. Generally, I will use horses I think have a chance to get brave up front. In this case, I'm going to pass on this 2 horse. I agree with you. The 5 Clapton is the class of this field. I think the most intriguing horse is the 6 Hey Porter. That's the other horse that I would use in this spot. The 6 is going to break from the outside. This is a first off the claim for Peter Walder, who generally does a good job of moving horses forward. And the other interesting part about this horse is that you've got, this is a state bred 54,000 N1X. This horse is running an open company, $75,000 optional claimers, has run in a state bred stakes race, run in a state bred allowance, and switched from the Delgado barn over to the Walder barn now. We're running second time in a row on dirt. I think dirt may actually be the better surface for this horse. I think that 7 furlongs is a good surface here. Look, we ran into Prankster. There's absolutely nothing embarrassing losing to Prankster 4 back. I mean, if you look at these dirt races, it's just Golden Wand has been in 3-year-old prep races. My Prankster, one of the better Pletcher horses. So those are the horses he's faced the 2 times on dirt when it's been protected. I think he got a shot at getting a nice number here on a live horse in the 6, Hey Porter.
There we go. We'll see. 4-1, maybe float up. EE morning line says 7-1, so we're expecting that price to float up a little bit. I agree with the 2 being cheap speed. EE's reflecting that as 4% on the win. If we go to the SOR, this horse hasn't faced anyone. And so now we're facing tougher company. Going that fast against lesser may inflate the pace number a little bit. I'm guessing, after this race, Calculated Breeze, once, he's facing the big boys now, maybe that pace number is going to come back down to earth a little bit after a race like this. But yeah, I was single to Clapton. This is another race where if you can take a stand against a favorite like this, you're going to get paid. This is probably going to be a highly singled horse in the sequence. We don't normally like doing that. I just couldn't make a case for anybody else. And so that's why I singled the 5 here.
The only other horse I would consider would be the rail horse, but hooray, hooray, hooray. 7-2. Barrios, I talked about him, liking him on days like this. Faced Reddington 2 back and was able to beat him. That's actually a pretty good horse. Faced Clapton last time, was 20-1 in that race. And that's the main reason why I think I'm only going to end up going too deep instead of including this one. I think 7-2 is just way too short on a horse that got beat last time pretty good by the 5 and was 20-1 in that race as well. So you're getting a nice price that day and you're getting really a discount today that's not one you necessarily want to take. But this would be the horse I think is the other dangerous one. I'm probably going to key some tries here with the 1 and 3rd and the 5 and the 6 on top. And see if we can, I'll probably even play a 5-6-1 straight try for a couple shekels as well to see if we can just hit the thing cold. Because I do think this is the other horse that's in contention in this spot.
There you have it. All right, we'll get to the last leg before we get to the last race or the next race up at Gulfstream. Let me put everybody back in this race here. We're going a mile on the turf here. Non-winners lifetime 3-4-year-olds and up. Mike, you had mentioned you like the 7-horse Parkland. You get Edwin Gonzalez. You get a horse that's kind of fast, and he's dangerous, dude. He's been riding the synthetic very well, but he's also been riding the turf very well. So 7-2 morning line. EE likes this horse. 70 GSR, 19% win. Make your case for Parkland.
I mean, this is just facing much better. Okay, Dynamite, Cavalry Charge, the last 2 winners, very, very good horses. That was an $83,000 N2X, $62,000 N2X. Now we're dropping in for $20,000 claiming. I'd be concerned about first off the layoff, but then you look at the trainer numbers. We got a $4 ROI on a 15% hit for Carlo Vacarezza. So I'm fine with the 15% there. To me, this is just. I think this horse trips out. The 7 doesn't need the lead to win. And you have a couple horses in front of it that's going to be able to put a decent pace in front of it. And the 7 is just going to get that perfect trip sitting second, or it's sitting probably either on the rail or second 2 path around both turns, be able to make that move into the stretch, get first run on the leaders. I think this is just one of those all systems go. I wish I could lock 7-2 in. I have a feeling this is going to be your favorite and going to get bet down. But to me, this was the horse I was most excited about on the entire card today.
There you go. That's a nice price, too, at 7-2. Looks like we have some more cheap speed up front. 96 on the pace number, Weight of Glory. This horse has 1 dimension. And as you see, speed and fade, speed and fade, speed and fade. Now facing tougher the last time out, facing tougher again today. I don't expect this horse to hold on. Sometimes horses can get brave, though, on these days at Gulfstream. You just never know. But I also looked at the 3-horse propensity here. I'm very high on Mike 7 as well. This is the John Kemmel horse. To me, this horse just seems like it's taking the next logical step up, coming off of a win. Last time out was the 3rd off the layoff. So, can we get one more out of this horse? I felt like 6-1 was probably right where we wanted to be price-wise. You get Angel Arroyo to ride. I was looking at the 2 perfect here. This is Miguel Vasquez for Danny Gargan. This horse has tried synthetic the last 2 times. We're coming back to turf where we won last time before at Belmont. So we have New York form coming down to Gulfstream on the turf, which typically bodes well for this horse. And we're getting 3rd off the layoff here. 20% of the win percentage. On my pick 5 ticket, I went 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So the 6 horse here, Jeremiah O'Dwyer horse, 12-1 morning line. I was getting a little bit more of a price here. Once again, we're getting 3rd off the layoff, bringing this horse back pretty quickly from last time out. Looks like we had a little bit of a trip trouble. And so, I wasn't as confident as Mike to single the 7 here. I wanted to go 5 deep. I felt like with my ticket structure and the total price of the ticket that I could afford to use 5 here. So I ended up going 1, 2, 3, 6, 7.
And you mentioned the other horse that I would use here. The one horse to me, Never Stop Dreaming, is the other horse I think is really, really interesting. This horse as a 4-year-old finished its season up running 4 back-to-back races on the turf. Those 4 races are probably the best 4 races this horse has ever run in its career. All of those were a mile or a mile 16th, so 2 turns over this Gulfstream Park turf course. Comes out in its 5-year-old season. Its first 2 races are on the synthetic. Showed speed, quit in both of those. We talked about how I love that angle already. This horse is now getting back to its best surface. 3rd off the layoff. 3rd as a 5-year-old. Getting and it should be in very good form and very fit for this. So the one horse I thought at 10-1 was awfully live as well. That's the other horse I was interested in this field.
There we have it. Great. Are they walking onto the turf yet, or are we still?
We are still dilly-dallying around here.
We're still dilly-dallying around. So if we use a combination of me and Mike's picks here, we're probably looking at something. Let's see if we end up singling the 5 here, and then
you're pretty close in the ticket you built over there. I mean, it'd be 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
and then I would probably flip the 5 for the 6 in the second leg. And then play. I would add the 6 in the third leg, but other than that, I think we're pretty similar.
The Hay Porter horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because I want to beat Clapton if we can. Because that's probably going to be your shortest price horse in the sequence.
There we go. $36 play. 1, 2, 3 with 1, 2, 5, 7 with 5, 6 with 1, 2, 7. Let us know what you guys are playing here. Looks like Nick's got a ticket. He's gonna go $10 pick 5 or pick 4. This is my kind of ticket here. 5, 5, 5. Is this a phone number that you don't want to give to a chick after the first date? It's like, hey, didn't really like you. 5, 5, 5. And then it looks like we got Shooksy pick 4. 1, 2, 3, 5 with 2 with all. So he's trying to really beat that. Now, Shooksy, why are you even using the 5 in the third leg? Is what we're asking. Because if you're going to go all there, you'd probably want to go all but the 5.
See, I hate that strategy.
Yeah.
I don't like the all but one. I know a lot of people that are proponents of all but one. I think if you're going over 75% of the field, you should be hitting the all but, because it's horse racing. And there are situations where just random things happen. Now,
like there might be swans and flamingos on the turf track.
There may be a swan or flamingo out there just hanging out, minding its own business. But it's one of those situations where I don't think that saving the, in that case, there's 6 horses. So you're saving 12% of the cost, right? Or I'm sorry, 17% of the cost. It's not worth saving the 17% for the times that it hits when you're right in the other spots, right? Mm-hmm. So leaving one horse off to me it doesn't make a ton of sense. As the fields get bigger, especially, it makes less and less sense, because if you got 10 horses and you're using 9 of them and you're playing a ticket for $40, you just saved yourself $4 leaving off that one horse. And if that one horse wins, you're gonna be pretty pissed you didn't just spend the $4, especially if it's a big number. Now, if it's a favorite, okay, I get it. But then you're probably going to be kicking yourself because you left the favorite off and it's $4. Yeah. So
if it's a favorite that you're very, very against, you got to look at it as, hey, am I trying to make money or am I trying to just hit a ticket?
I think that your Big Daddy Dave here is going to be a problem for me. The 1 did not break very well.
The 1.
And so the
Determined Fury, the Drexler horse just off of his flank here. So let's see if Peter's got this horse fit again. I mean, he got a little weary in the stretch last time. I was hoping he'd have more fitness and improve today at Big Daddy Dave.
My guess is that time is incorrect. I'm guessing they didn't go 23.
That's maybe going a mile and a 16th. So, man, this Drexler horse is.
You look comfy. I'm hoping
here comes Crack Shot.
Yeah. Come on, tilt out 2. No. This 4 is going to be tough.
I know. Come on, 5.
Dig in 5. Oh, lift 2.
Looks like he has him.
Oh, lift 2.
Oh, he got the perfect trip, too. He just went way wide in the stretch. Oh, yeah.
I think he got there.
I think he did, too. There we go. Pirate Life.
Woo!
Turned it on late. I mean, look at that improvement from race 1 to race 2. I mean, off the maiden and now facing winners for the first time. That fraction was not even close to being right. That fraction might have been 2 seconds off.
It couldn't have been, not with the way the 2 just closed there at the end and the way that the 3 backed up. Oh, man.
Oh, Feldman just got nosed for over
terrible,
2,000. Man. Oh, man.
I'm sorry for celebrating there too, Nick.
Nick, how long you been in the game for? Because, dude, it's brutal.
Oh,
After that great call on the 5 horse. I mean, look how this horse is in the middle of the track.
That 5 the 2 is still really green. He's got a lot of improvement in there. Yeah. Man, that 5
in the last jump
too once he put that 4 away.
Oof.
That last 16th of a mile was just unbelievable acceleration.
Yeah, no excuse. I mean, we don't know how fast they went. Maybe the 5 pressed Big Daddy Dave just enough. Big Daddy Dave needed to get loose, and he got the setup that he needed. I mean, the 1 didn't break on the inside, so no excuses for my 3 here today.
No, and you were dead on about the 7 not running.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we talked about the
Partners Hope. Yeah, man, I love. I actually, some people hate this red at Gulfstream. I love it because it lets me know when the camera's panning and I'm watching a race live that I've got one more stride. And so I kind of like the red. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't know why you guys hate it.
Gulfstream is one of the easiest tracks to call a photo at because of the red and because it's close enough to the line. The outside still gets the edge when you're watching in real time, but it's close enough to the line. And the red means that you can almost call every single photo in real time, which is crazy when you compare it to like Oaklawn or even like Kentucky Downs, where I don't even know half the time in Kentucky Downs what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bubba wants to see a blood sample for the 2. Okay, good luck with that, Bubba. The horse just tripped out. He got a pace set up. He was the best horse in the race, and he tripped out.
I mean, I'm actually interested in the 2 going forward. Like that was Irad rides it first time out. The horse runs like that second time out. I mean, there might be some upside in this 2 horse for a random
4 horse. The 4 horse looked like the winner with about a 16th to go.
Yeah,
when the 4 horse was going by the Drexler horse, crack shot. This horse was 13-1. For Frank Russo, who's winning at 30%, kind of quiet 30%. Russo was winning that much. But this was a Danny Gargan horse, Miguel Vasquez. This is a horse that would love, if you can close going 5 at Gulfstream like that, imagine what you could do at Keeneland. Imagine what you can do in New York. You send this horse to Belmont or something with a longer stretch.
But that race is 5.5.
Yeah.
That horse wins by 2, 3. Right. So, I mean, that's the other part of it where it's probably not the best. I love this attitude. Nick's like, it's cool. I hit a double last race, so it's fine. I got nosed out and screwed there. That sucks, man. That was a heck of a run you're on there, too, getting 2 or 3 in a right there.
There you go. And, a fair price, 2-1. We wondered why some of the money was going here. But, the public got it right again. So good job to the handicappers out there that had the 2. A lot of people will say they don't bet horses coming off of a maiden because I think maidens only win it's 10 to 12% going forward when they face winners for the first time. But this horse is just by far the best.
Well, I mentioned it before the race. I don't bet maidens first time out against winners, except in turf sprinting, because it's literally the one spot where I feel like it's the easiest type of race for a horse to run. You're not catching kickback. You can come from off it. You can go right to the lead. If you're the fastest horse, you're just the fastest horse in turf sprint. So especially smaller field turf sprinting, I don't mind facing winners for the first time. And luckily, Pirate Life able to get the job done here, even on the surface switch.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mike, we got 15 minutes left. We want to cover a little bit of fairgrounds here for the viewers.
Yeah,
we've got a big day, Louisiana Derby Day, coming up on Saturday. So let me switch my screen back over here. Okay. Some familiar faces and names. Now, update for everybody. Baffert sent a few horses to Tim Yakatine and Rudolph Brissett. So Messier is going to be in one of these prep races here soon.
Well, they announced it. Messier and McLaren Vale are both going to be in the San Anita Derby. Doppelganger going to the Arkansas Derby. And where was the other one? Let me see here.
There was a 4th one. I forget where he's going.
The 4th one went to Brissett. I can't remember where he's headed though. I think it's Bluegrass. I think it's to Keeneland. Anyway, what do you think CDI is going to do?
Who?
CDI.
Oh, well, I saw on Twitter, I think it was Real Dynasty that put this out, that would it be crazy if they put up a rule that if Baffert switches barns within 30 days, they're ineligible for points? I think they're going to let them run. They're going to let these horses run under different trainers. And it's not like they're going to Jimmy Barnes. They're going to other trainers. And so, I'm glad that we're this far out, because if there was something funny going on, you wouldn't want this to happen a month out. You want 2 months before the Derby, which, we're less than 2 months now. I think it's adequate time to have one prep and then go to the Derby under a different trainer. I wish it would have happened 2 months ago, not now.
I agree with you on the 2 months ago part of it. Do you consider that a Baffert horse? Is Messier still a Baffert horse?
Yes.
Yes. So therein lies the problem. Like if they CDI essentially spent a year trying to keep Bob Baffert out of this Derby. If Messier runs in the Derby, the entire coverage will be about Bob Baffert having this horse prior to it, and then going in there. I wouldn't be shocked if Baffert's in the winner's circle.
In the winner's circle photo. The question is he going to get knocked over again this year by his horse?
He's just the hot walker now for Tim Yaktin's
I know. I wish as of January 1st, but the problem was that the proceedings got dragged out so long and nobody knew. I think Baffert was just holding out to say, hey, if I win my suit against them, then, maybe we're going to be able to run is probably what he was thinking. And so he didn't want to get rid of his horses because, look what happened to Life is Good. Life is Good is gone. He's in the Pletcher barn and he's thriving. And so he wanted to hold on to these horses for as long as possible. Well, now we're so close and he knows he's not going to be able to run. I just wish for the sport that it would happen earlier so that we would know, okay, this horse is going to go through all these preps, because now you don't have Baffert horses taking points away from other horses on the West Coast. You're going to have fewer West Coast horses in the Derby this year. I mean, just when we get the 20 that make the gate, look how many are from the East Coast and Oakland and New York rather than out West, because if Baffert wins, the second place horse doesn't get the first place points.
I really wish that they had just written into the rules that any horse that started a Kentucky Derby prep for Bob Baffert was ineligible to gain points. Period. So then you have to
here we are now.
You have to make a decision before they start in a Kentucky Derby prep, because if you start with one in the Baffert barn, you can't switch barns, right? And so, but because of the way it was written, you knew this was eventually had a good chance of happening, and here we are. The other thing I really want to know, I mean, you're in business. What percentage of the trainer's money does Tim Yaktin get, and what percentage does Bob Baffert get for the 10? Because I'll tell you right now, Yaktin's not getting 100%. There is some backdoor deal where Baffert's getting, I don't know, I would guess it's like 75% of the money. Because this isn't actually a Tim Yaktin trained horse. Let's be honest, right? It's still a Bob Baffert trained horse.
It is. It's still there. He's probably still calling the shots. It's kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort loses his securities license and Donnie's still running the shop, but Jordan's actually still running the whole show. So we'll see. I don't know how those deals go down or anything, but you're right. It's definitely in the futures markets. How many Derby pools have we had now? About 4. And there's been that other horse, because they haven't been listing the Baffert horses in the pools. And that other horse has been like 3-2. And so by design, it's like, hey, if these Baffert horses get in, we're going to get like 6 horses at 3-2, which, might not be that bad of a deal. But, it wouldn't be the Kentucky Derby in this era if we didn't have some kind of problems. I mean, think back to, Justify should have never have gotten in the Derby because he shouldn't have tested positive after the Santana Derby. Yeah. Then we had Maximum Security the year after with Country House. Then we had, Medina Spirit and Authentic and all this. So the Kentucky Derby is turned into quite the theater. But we've got another race in Louisiana that's going to determine who's going to the Derby. And it looks like Epicenter is probably going to take favoritism and probably going to be loose on the lead again. What was your overall opinion here? There's some must-win horses like Rattle and Roll. I'm sorry, McPeak, you've got to win this race, or else you shouldn't go to the Derby.
Well, I mean, Rattle and Roll shouldn't go to the Derby. And let me rephrase. Rattle and Roll won't win the race, so it's irrelevant. Like I hate this horse. This is one of those. I can't believe people are still betting Rattle and Roll. All the McPeaks, to be honest with you, I can't believe we're still getting bet. There's 2-year-olds when he's a big price at 15-1. By all means, fire away. When you're starting to get 4-1 on McPeak Derby preps in Florida, like that's just crazy to me. I like Epicenter here. I wish I could get around this horse. Epicenter reminds me of Midnight Bourbon so much. I mean, I made this comp a couple times on different shows, but this is just one of those horses where I don't think he's a world beater. I think the horse has a ton of heart. I think the horse is very good. But if the horse gets the lead, he's gone. Good luck. You're not going to be able to run this horse down very often. The one time he was run down was obviously by Call Me Midnight, who was coming back here. First start since winning. What was it? The Risen Star, I believe it was. And was able to run him down
back in January. Yeah,
Epicenter took a ton of pace pressure that day, and Call Me Midnight was so wide. I'm not sure Epicenter even got to see him coming down the stretch. In this case, there is really no pace pressure. Zozo's Pioneer, Medina are the 2 horses that could press. Galt went 2 races ago, didn't go last time. I think that is really the horse that could cause trouble for Epicenter. If Galt does what he did in the Holy Bull and just bullets out of the gate, that could be a problem. Now, Galt drew the rail that day. I think that was a big part of why he went to the lead. This time we have Epicenter inside of Galt. I have a feeling Epicenter is able to go 23-4, 48-1. You're not catching him if he's loose doing that. I mean, it's not happening.
I think this is actually an easier field than what Epicenter beat last time. And so, this is kind of a natural progression for him. And, so many times we see these horses go gate to wire in these Derby preps, and then everybody says, oh my gosh, there's so much speed in the Derby. And then we get there and one horse goes to the lead or there's two pressing. Rosario's coming in to ride for Asmussen. Rosario's been kind of cold for me lately. And I just, maybe I have some hangover from Nick's Go because Rosario he's not the best gate jockey.
No.
If I need to get a horse out, like he's on so many of these speed horses though, like Jackie's Warrior, Nick's Go, just to name a few, Epicenter, Echo Zulu. I mean, he's on a lot of these speed horses, and these horses break Joel. He's not that great of a gate jockey to break these horses out. And so Epicenter just might be one of those special ones that breaks himself, gets the lead, slows it down, and carries on. There's nobody stronger in the stretch than Rosario, in my opinion. If I'm in the stretch and I need a little bit more out of my horse, I want Joel to be the one pumping on the lead. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship that I have with Joel and speed horses, as we know what happened in New York for the month of June last year where he couldn't get out of the gate. So, if Epicenter is the Midnight Bourbon and Papa Cap is the Hot Rod Charlie of last year, maybe you throw Epicenter in the try in the Derby. I mean, he's going to be up there. I still really, you're going to laugh at this, I like Classic Causeway a lot. You get Ortiz. He's going to have to decide between that and Mo Donegal. He's going to Classic Causeway. There's no way Irad's riding Mo Donegal. I think they already announced that.
I hope you're right about Classic Causeway because I'm sitting on 65 to 1 and 50 to 1 in the futures market on that horse. So I hope
Irad doesn't have a Derby either. He doesn't have a Derby win yet.
Maybe this year, my man. I agree with you on the speed, the pace side of it. You have a lot of wire-to-wire winners in prep races because generally the best horses of the early 3-year-olds are the fastest horses. Go figure, right? Epicenter is definitely one of those that is going to be in front in this race. Although long-term, I don't think he's as fast as Forbidden Kingdom, as Messier, as Early Voting, as even Classic Causeway. So it's going to be interesting to see if Epicenter in the Derby is able to stalk. However, much like Midnight Bourbon, when Midnight Bourbon didn't make the lead, he just hung around. Like he would always finish second or third and just kind of, grind it out and be good enough to be in that. I agree with you. I think Epicenter is a very logical horse to hit the board in the Derby. I think it's pretty hard pressed for Epicenter to win the Derby. But outside of Epicenter, because obviously we talked about him quite a bit in this race, Zozos is the other horse that's going to take money. And that's really the horse that is there an upside here. This is going to be third out for Brad Cox. Florent Giroux takes them out. Last race was super impressive, getting the job done. This is the horse that's is going to be your second choice. It is going to be the horse that may even have to press Epicenter if he wants to win the race. Any interest in Zozos? Is this a single Epicenter move along for you? What are you thinking?
It's we have a lot to prove for Zozos here. And Epicenter, we know what we're going to get. We don't know what Zozos has, and we're coming out of an allowance race. EE Morning Line loves this horse. 8-1, down to 3-1, over a 9-5 in Epicenter. You get 11% to win, which is the fifth choice, but it's kind of spread out win percentage-wise. When I talked to Brad Cox at the Eclipse Awards, we were talking about rider styles, and he goes,
nice,
man, Florent Giroux. We're talking Florent Giroux, gotta go. If you look at every horse that is very good for Brad Cox that Flo gets on, it's a speed horse. And so, I don't mind Flo stalking. I like it better when he's on the lead and no one else can catch him. But unfortunately, he's going to have to pass Epicenter here. I don't see it happening. I see it. You're going to have to see another major improvement off the last effort for this horse to even come close to Epicenter, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. But he is the one horse in this field that has a chance of taking a huge step forward just because of how lightly raced he is.
And Gaffleone's coming over for Pioneer of Medina. This is a horse that I really haven't been high on. He's skipping a whole day riding at Gulfstream. I don't know who's Gaffleone going to be riding in the Derby. Is he still searching, or is he a Papa Cap guy? If Papa Cap is going,
I think he's still looking for a mount. And Pioneer Medina has Pioneer Medina, I guess, has a little bit of upside. But I heard so many things about this Pletcher barn. And Pioneer Medina was not one that was mentioned when I heard about these horses at 2 and early in their 3-year-old season.
Yeah.
And it was Charge It. It was American Icon. It was Ironworks. None of them are that good. So if I'm not hearing about Pioneer Medina, and I am hearing about these 4 Pletchers, I'm kind of concerned that Pioneer Medina may not be the goods. And Charge It still could be the goods. We don't know about Charge It. We'll see how good he is in the Florida Derby. Done nothing wrong so far in his career. But to me, I'm a little lukewarm on these Pletchers now. I was thought the barn was absolutely on fire with these 3-year-olds, and you watch this last round of preps, and it's like, shit, man, he might not have anyone in the gate if Charger doesn't run very well.
I was down in Florida for Fountain of Youth weekend, and Pletcher goes down. He was like on a 0 for 30 stretch. It was over like 7 to 10 days of racing days where he didn't even have a single winner. And a trainer that wins at 25 to 30%, whatever Pletcher's at, 23% right now, Pletcher. And that number's gone down, by the way. And he usually is the king of Derby prep season, but then never is the king of the Derby. It's like Pletcher can win all these prep races. Then once he goes to Kentucky, it's like, he doesn't, over the past history, he hasn't done that well in the Derby. And so, 0 for 30 on a stretch, not really that hot right now in that barn. So, yeah, it looks like Epicenter will be tough to beat. Hope Zozos improves quite a bit. I like seeing some parity in these Derby preps.
Yeah.
We want to touch on Life is Good a little bit before we sign off.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk Life is Good. We can stick around for the last of Gulfstream. It's about 10 minutes out, and then we can we'll jet.
Absolutely. So let me see. Maybe I can pull up. Let's try to go Equibase here.
Is there any way Life is Good loses? Let's start out with that general comment.
I mean, as a charlatan backer in the Saudi Cup last year, yes, there is a way. It's horse racing. I don't know who's going to send the flamingos or the swans out there. I mean, maybe in Dubai it's something else. Maybe it's like a tiger or something that, gets loose on the track. Yes, he can be beat. And I had to figure out something the other day. I didn't know why. I've been watching racing for so many years. They have the post draw, but then they don't necessarily break from the post that their saddle class says overseas. And so, it could be by weight, could be alphabetical. And so Equibase has Life is Good wearing the 7. Yeah. So are we in the 1 hole, or are we wearing the 1 cloth? Are we breaking from the 1, or are we breaking from the 7 hole?
I believe you're breaking from the 1 in the 7 cloth. So the betting numbers and the post position are not the same. So like in Europe, they list out the horses alphabetically or whatever, however they want to do it, 1 through 20, but then they'll draw post position. So the 7 horse could have post position 2. Or so they'll draw a number and then a number versus the name and the number. So it's just a different way to do the draw, but it gets a little more confusing because you might have the 15 horse breaking out of the 1 post. So like when you're watching Ascot, it's the exact same thing at Ascot. The 1 is not in the 1 post. They'll often shuffle them around. So you just got to kind of keep an eye on that. And it'll often say, like, when you're looking at the Ascot PPs, it says PP 25 for the 18 horse. And so you got to check that out. And then you also have to understand which one is the rail, right? Like, because there are 2 rails at Ascot that they'll run down. And so which one's the inside, which one's the outside, or the stand side and the infield side is what they call it. So just kind of some unique post position situations happening overseas. But yeah, I believe Life is Good is breaking out of the 1 hole, but is the 7 horse.
Okay. And that cannot be a bad thing for Life is Good. If you think of, you have nobody to your inside, this is still a young horse that's improving. But who's going to go? Hot Rod Charlie can't go with this horse. No. I mean, and then you got some of the overseas horses, a lot of horses are going to be deflecting and dodging him. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. I don't know. You're not going to get a price on him. If you got a price on him, you need to do it in the futures market at, 4 to 5. I'm guessing in the US, he's probably going to be 2 to 5.
I mean, my money deserves to be. I mean, this is a horse that should be minus 250, 300, somewhere in that range. Because if Life is Good breaks, he wins. If Life is Good doesn't break and rushes up and gets the lead, he wins. Because we're also like, this is a merry-go-round inside favoring speed track. And you have Life is Good breaking from the 1. Like, if you could draw this up, this is how you would draw it up for a $20 million race for Life is Good. This is exactly what he wants. $12 million.
I would, and I would put Midnight Bourbon. I would key Midnight Bourbon in 3rd. Like that's where I'm putting that horse. Country Grammar should have won the Saudi Cup. If the local horse, and then Jimmy Barnes goes up there the other day at the draw and says, "Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We had a $20 million prep race for a $12 million race because Saudi Cup going to Dubai Cup." Country Grammar ran huge, and this horse came off of a year layoff. You would think that this horse would improve a little bit. And so, none of these horses have as much natural speed as Life is Good. I just, outside of the U.S. horses, Life is Good, Hot Rod Charlie, Country Grammar, Midnight Bourbon, I was looking at the other ones. I'm like, I've never heard of these horses before. Real World, Hypothetical, Grocer Jack, Chud Wizard, Arrow Team, Remorse. And so which horse is going to surprise us and win at 99 to 1 is the question.
Or do you just play a cold U.S. Super? right?
Yeah.
Life is Good over Country Grammar, over Midnight Bourbon, over Hot Rod Charlie. Like you just ice cold.
And that's how I would play it. I would probably go Life is Good over Country Grammar in second, and then Hot Rod and Midnight. You can use them both in the third spot, is what I do in like a trifecta. But even though there's still not going to be any value, it's not like this is Breeders' Cup where even like a heavy favorite you can still actually squeeze some value out of. It's everybody knows who Life is Good is, and everybody in the U.S. is going to be betting this horse, keying him everywhere. And so, when Charlatan got beat, Charlatan was a 3-5 favorite in the Saudi Cup. And Nick's Go was the only competition that anybody looked at. And everybody said, oh, well, if Nick's Go doesn't get the lead, which he didn't, and Charlatan was faster, Nick's Go still held on for fourth, but you had Mishrif come that was a turf horse that, maybe that Saudi or that Dubai Dirt is a little bit different. Median is a much more speed favoring track than the Saudi one is. Because if you watch those replays the last 2 years Saudi Cup day, if you're in the middle of the track, you can close on anybody on that Saudi track. But in Dubai, speed's much more important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Life is good, baby.
Gotta get up at I think it's 7:45 a.m. East Coast for that Arabian race first out. It's
absolutely
Saudi day. Started early, man. Get some mimosas and start betting some Arabian ponies. What else what more could you want?
Absolutely, man. Well, and then you got college basketball. I think the Dubai Cup's like around 12 o'clock or so Eastern. And so, you go Dubai Cup right into college basketball. We've got some games tonight. I think we got 4 games tonight and then 4 tomorrow.
Yep.
And so I've got a couple of parlays going. I liked the dogs. I like Houston a lot over Arizona. I played one ticket where I teased Houston up a little bit, and I played another ticket where I used Houston money line. I think Gonzaga is a good play. The one weird line was Duke is an underdog to Texas Tech. I thought that line was kind of fishy.
Yeah, Texas Tech is set up perfectly to defend them. If Duke doesn't get a favorable whistle, that's going to be a tough game for Duke. Just because Texas Tech doesn't allow you to drive very often. That's one of Duke's a drive and kick type team. And if you can keep them out of the lane, it makes it a lot more difficult for them on offense. So that's a setup where without a favorable whistle, I would lean Texas Tech, but it's Coach K last tournament. It's Duke. Like it just screams favorable whistle in that front. I'm with you on Houston. They match up probably best versus they're the worst matchup possible for Arizona. Arizona's one of a poor offensive or defensive rebounding team. Houston is very, very good on the offensive glass. Arizona tries to drive. Houston's one of the best at keeping out of the lane. To me, that's not a great matchup at all for Arizona. And I like Miami quite a bit. I think it's dogs tonight. I think it's going to be chalk tomorrow. We'll see if that pans out. There
we go. Good chalk, bad chalk, essentially in college basketball too. It's alive and well everywhere.
I love it. All right, so we got about 5 minutes here before the last. Great. We're going to cover Gulfstream. So you want to jump over? We can fire through this puppy. And I'm surprised by this board. It's a pretty even betting board here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got 3-1 here. I'm trying to get back to my screen real quick. Here we go. 3-1 on Queen Camilla. 3-1 on the 7 horse that I will not pronounce. 4-1 on Anita's Empire. 4-1 on Princess Cupid, 6-1 on Julian's horse. So, the great betting race is alive and well in a 7-horse field here at Gulfstream Park. This is great. See, this is what happens when you have the Ortiz brothers out of town. You get a 3-1 favorite, and it's kind of nice. It's like the old days. Who is this trainer? Mobark. It looks like he's new. Was he an assistant somewhere? Does anybody have any information on this guy? Mohammed Mobark, 0% trainer. Don't think he's like a bad trainer. It looks like he just started.
Yeah, so. It screams just started because he has 0 mounts in 2021, and all of his stats are very, very small sample size, which means he probably just went out on his own this year. And that's 4 Chestnut Checkers, first off the claim. So obviously we don't know a ton about it first off the claim there. It does have a nice 47-3 workout, 3 of 115, the one time he's worked for this barn since the claim, or I guess one of the 2 times he's worked for the barn since the claim. So that's solid there. It's a nice little work before getting out into the race. This one's going to be interesting. Just you clearly have the 2 horses going to be your pace. The other horse that's shown speed is the 6, Nabuli. Both of these are coming off of synthetic sprints. So it's one of those situations where it's, what are you going to see? I'm shocked the 6 is 6-1 right now.
Yeah, I thought he'd be lower, but it's Julian.
I thought the 6 is going to be the favorite. And we're sitting up here staring at 6-1. I'm a big Jack Sisterson fan. I think he does a great job with these type of horses. I'm not concerned about the surface switch with him. When I look at the board here, I liked the 8 the most. I don't like the 3-1 price versus the 6-1 price on the 6 though. So I'm almost leaning to kind of flip over and take the 6. It's going to be a little more forwardly placed than the 7 will.
I didn't like that the 1's favored. I don't think this 1 should be favored. I do think the 1 trips out the best. This is that horse the horse is going to be sitting third, right in behind these 2 speeds. And, even going a mile 1 turn at Gulfstream, speed is so important. And so I think that Alvarado is going to have this horse in a perfect spot. I do like your 7. I'm just wondering, okay, can the 7 stay close enough? But we actually don't know these synthetic horses that are going sprint to a mile now. We're adding 2 furlongs at least to each of these. How fast are they actually going to be going sprint to not route, but sprint to mile? So I would probably lean towards the 1 here, getting the trip. If they go lightning fast up front, then maybe you're looking at the other Sandal horse here, Queen Camilla with Gaffleon. This is the horse that maybe could close the best out of this whole group. But, man, wide open race. If you can really narrow it down here, I'd probably be playing the 1 on top. Looks like now the 7's the favorite. So I bet the favorite changes about 3 or 4 more times before we go to post time.
Yeah, I was 7-6-1-2 before the race, and now it's one of those where it's. I don't love the 5. I think the 5 is getting battled a lot on the back class, and it's one of those situations where we talked about this level. This is the 3-year-olds that are earlier in the season. The 5 has had enough chances for me. By this point, you've got to have done a little bit more in your career. Where the 6 horse, the 7 horse, the 1 horse, the 2 horse, even they're still earlier in their racing career. We haven't seen those horses run in a bunch of different ways. I'm interested in the upside in those more in the kind of the form that we have seen, the known from the 5. So to me, I think you lean on the 6-7 or the 7-1 here, one of those 2, and then you build around that. I understand the 2 is going to be the pace. We'll see if the 2 can get the mile. I know Oldie was mentioning Cupid's like a 1-turn mile. They're like the 2 might just go the whole way. But to me, it's the 1, the 2, the 6, and the 7. I think are the 4 I'm interested in. And then it's figuring out how to order those correctly here for a single race.
Now, Mike, when we're playing verticals here, so many people can pick a winner, but it's so hard to pick a horse that's going to run second or going to run third. When I'm building a vertical ticket here, I think, can the speeds hold on for minor placings? Or are the speeds going to go so fast that it's going to be a stagger fest coming home and they're going to get passed by 3 or 4 horses? In this scenario, I think the speeds can hang on for those second and third spots. And so I'd probably definitely leave them in the try here. And then, I'm looking at a horse like the 5 that I'd maybe use in third there. And so, if it was me playing this ticket, I'm probably going 1-7 on top, and then putting, something together kind of like this.
Man, 7 just keeps taking money.
He does. Now, when you're playing a vertical, do you ever use a horse in one spot but not others because you think this horse is going to run the race of his life and win, or he's going to throw a clunker? So sometimes I'll use a horse on top, but if I'm using multiples, I won't use them in second and third because I either think it's a winning effort or we're off the board.
Well, I think a great example is the 2 horse in the next race. The really cheap speed either wins or finishes last. And so to me, using a cheap speed in second or third often is not the best idea, right? The 2 horse here is clearly your speed, but I think this 2 horse has a good shot at running second or third if he's not able to go the full distance. And I'm also not sure how many horses are really going to be pushing from the back. Look, the 5 horse just kind of passes tired horses more than closes, right? And there's a differentiator there. There's not that turn of foot that you're scared of. The 4 horse is coming out of maiden races, right? So I'm not as worried about the 4. Would be a pretty big step up to be able to compete with this field. So in my mind, really the 7 and the 1 are the only horses that can pass the speed. And so to me, that using the 6 and the 2 in that second and third position makes a ton of sense, because if either the 7 or the 1 doesn't fire, most likely it's going to be 2 or 6 that's in the second spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Catherine, the Ortiz brothers are in Dubai. Irad called me. No, he didn't call me. Maybe. I wish. No, they're in Dubai now, so they are off their mounts. I don't even think they were listed on mounts today and tomorrow. So long trip over there. I know Saez is over there too. I was trying to figure out why Saez is over. Casa Creed is running, and then he's got another horse for Mott in one of the races. But What are you doing, Luis? He's not even in the big race.
Well, it's interesting because like on Saturday, the colony is going to be just it's going to be rough because you have the Ortizes going, you got Sayas going, obviously you got everything going on at Fairgrounds. So it's going to be an interesting colony on Saturday. I actually like it. All right, here we go. The 2-horse looks like he made the lead right out of the gate. The 6 also sending. So we're seeing the 2 we expected up front here. We'll see if this 2 can get. He looks pretty comfortable, but getting constant pressure, which is not necessarily what you want when you run one of these horses stretching out.
7 sitting a perfect trip. Looks like the 1 needed to get a little bit up there in position. Not the best break for the 1. 7 looks pretty good right now, and it looks like the 5's actually trying to get some early position as well and not be too far back. So we'll see. They went 24 and 2 if you believe the fraction.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have went like 23 flat or something like that.
Interesting here. The 2-horse goes off as your 5-2 favorite. The 1-horse is your co-favorite at 5-2 as well.
And the 1's drop an acre.
Yeah, this 7 looks loaded. We'll see if this 2 can keep it going. Castellano's asking now. He's not stretching up as much as I thought he would.
Looks like Julian's standing very tall on the 6-horse. Julian's got horse. Wow. Not even asking her yet.
Nope. I'd say it's a 3-horse race. We'll see which one can get the job done. Here comes the 5 clunking it up there.
Okay, when's Julian going to panic?
Well, this is the 6 or the 7, right?
Yeah, has to be. Come on, 7. Come on, 7. We wondered why the 6 was kind of dead on the board after being the morning line favorite. Now the 7's getting in high gear. Here we go with this 7.
That's
7, 6, 2.
Yep. Bang.
There we go.
Yep.
Julian,
again,
went too early.
We talked about it. Speed's good enough to hold those last 2 positions, right? And the 1 or the 7 will fire.
Pick your 1 or your 7. And you could have played that ticket for $3.
Yep.
But apparently Julian didn't learn from Warlike Goddess that you cannot hit the button too early. You got to wait.
That was interesting too, because Castellano, you saw him like spreading the reins out there to try and get the horse to get back into the bit. I mean, he had to work to get that horse moving. He had to ask him a little bit than he probably wanted to around the turn, but a professional effort there with a horse trying something for the first time. And again, one of those races where if you can go shallow in this race, when you see that board, I mean, I got some press tickets rolling here, so hopefully we can hit the last 2. But if you can go shallow in races like this, it's a separator, man, because a lot of people use multiple horses. You can use 1 or 2 in these spots. Gives you a really good chance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There you go. So we got a 3-1 winner over a 9-2 over a 5-2. Try should pay okay. We got the 1 actually went off favorite at 5-2. So both Sano horses are off the board. But there you have it, guys. Good luck if you're live in your tickets. We'll be rooting them on. Good luck if you're playing this weekend, Louisiana Derby. Good luck if you're playing any of the races over there in Dubai. Mike and I will be back next week, bringing you probably live action from Gulfstream again. We may change it up. We're going to be getting into April now, so some other tracks are going to be starting to fire up. So maybe we'll start looking into some other tracks. I've got a few in mind as well once the championship meet ends, and we'll go from there. Any closing remarks, Mike?
That was fun, man. We just went 3 for 3. Let's do this more often.
Right. And they weren't 1-2 shots at Charlestown. So
no, it's nice when it's not Charlestown.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you next week. Good luck if you're playing the bad or the good chalk, or if you're fading the bad chalk.